Hello everybody and welcome back to another game of Pauper. We are in the replay room this time just because my software for some reason decided to give me a really laggy recording. And this was kind of a sweet game. We're going up against Hexproof here, playing some Turbo Fog, and we won the die roll. I guess I have to press play here. And we keep a nice, really well-rounded hand and lead on Terramorphic, and then we get to see our turn 1 Bogle here. We get to go get our island now. It crossed my mind that I could have foiled the Bogle, and I even played my island so I couldn't foil here, but I figured it was more important to just get the islands out, and here I just drew my Jace and played it right away. We're not really in danger of dying here. Like, it would have been super unlikely. It would have needed, like, I don't even know, like double ethereal armor or plus like rancor or something to do it. But here our game 1 is usually pretty good against this deck, so they don't have much interaction, and because we got our Jace's Erasure out super early, we don't really have to worry about milling them on time. Yeah, aside from that, nothing too special here. Because we did here, essentially what happened, our opponent tried to Ancestral Mask their Glade Cover Scout because their Slippery Bogle didn't untap from the Tangle. So this was a really good opportunity for us to use foil here. And the reason why I like this game so much is because foil was so important in this match. First of all, for kind of acting as another fog here, allowing us to discard Deep Analysis as well. But just in general, it was really good this game. So that's good to keep in mind. So here we just lost 2 life, and we just keep on milling our opponent. We can even just play another Jace's Erasure because we have our next Tangle here. And our opponent gets in with everything again, not really learning from their first Tangle, and I guess they wanted to get in for lethal. I probably wouldn't have taken it else otherwise. But here, yeah, I just go for the Brainstorm, mill them for 6 here. We get a couple more fogs. I've been using Gush pretty aggressively, and because of that, I'm kind of out of islands. I had to discard 1, and so right now I can't cast Gush at all. But I do have Preordain, and double Jace's Erasure means I can always mill and stuff, so it's we're still looking in really good shape. And our Tangles have really overperformed, again, in part thanks to foil. Here we go ahead and draw some more, mill them a bunch. They're down to 16. I'm pretty sure they're dead next turn. Here we just fog, draw, gush, and then we hit double Brainstorm, so we just kill them right there. So yeah, really easy game 1. Game 2 is usually kind of tricky, and yeah, at this point we just cast our second Brainstorm and they die. Taking a look at the sideboard, we're probably looking at just bringing in Counterspell. I don't usually like bringing in Dispel because I don't know exactly what they're bringing in. It could be sorcery-based enchantment removal, like Gleeful Sabotage, though I haven't been seeing that very much, but I just go for the more general Counterspell just in case I do run into that kind of thing. But most of the time Dispel is better, but it's more of a game 3 card if we get there. So we'll see you guys in game 2. Alright, in game 2, we, like I said, boarded out 2 Deep Analysis for the 2 counterspells. Deep Analysis is a really good card, but our life can be pretty precious in this matchup, so we can't always afford the 3 life in this match, and paying 4 mana just to draw 2 cards is not very good. So we took those out and we left everything else in. And like I said, if ever we were to lose this game and you know, have it beat a Flaring Pain or something, then Dispel would come in, or if it was like Ray of Revelation or something, Dispel would be much better. We keep a hand of all blue cards here, so I'm a little nervous about keeping something like this, but I end up keeping it just because I do have a Brainstorm and lots of card draw and counter spells and stuff that could allow me to save some time. I do draw a foil, which is nice. And our opponent doesn't do anything, so I just go ahead and Brainstorm. We do get a Jace's Erasure, and I did finally find my green source. With the Preordain that I played, I had to be really, really careful. I did have a Jace's Erasure. I had to choose between Jace's Erasure and Tangle, and then I ended up putting Tangle on top and Jace's Erasure on the bottom. Luckily, I had another Jace's Erasure near the top of the deck, so that turned out really, really well for me, and I figured that I would soon be needing Tangle, and I would also need green mana, so I decided to put that Jace's Erasure on the bottom. But like I said, I drew another one anyway, so it didn't really matter. And I also ended up here. I don't even think I'm going to play an island. Opponent's going to get in for 5 here. I was leaving up just foil essentially. Yeah, or do I play my island? Yeah, I do. Okay, so yeah, here our opponent mulliganed to 6, which was good for us. Here I'm going to take one more hit. Or no, I decide to tangle, because it means that it's going to gain me 2 turns, because our opponent's likely not going to be able to kill us the following turn. Here I was contemplating going for Gush, but I ended up not going for it, deciding to go do it right now. Here I play Gush, and this is kind of my first mistake that I kind of kicked myself for, was that in response to the Gush, he uses Relic of Progenitus to make me exile my accumulated knowledge, and instead of casting Brainstorm in response, I just let it go, and I exiled my accumulated knowledge, and guess what I drew? Accumulated knowledge. So I only got to draw 1 instead of an extra card. I mean, I guess it wasn't too big a deal, because I ended up having to discard down to hand size anyways here. I ended up playing my other Jace's Erasure because I knew I had Fog in hand, so it didn't really matter. And our opponent is, they're playing out their hand. They're not keeping lands or anything, so it's keeping me feeling pretty safe. In any case, I'm leaving up an island here with foil, even though I could also just Gush. Here I'm leaving up Counterspell. I don't know what for. Maybe our opponent could draw a card or something, but at this point I need to search for a Fog, because I didn't find one, and so essentially I Gush first to see if I can find one, leaving up 2 blue mana. Gush is free, and then I can play my land, which would be my 5th land, which lets me pay 3 blue mana to transmute Muddle the Mixture to get a Moment's Peace, and then I see this, and then I start to think, oh, yeah, he chose red on Utopia Sprawl here. So luckily, foil was here, which ended up being super important for us, because without foil, we would have just died. Straight up. So foil is kind of showing its strength here in game 1, because we got to use it as like another Fog. In game 2, because it saved us from a Flaring Pain that we put in our opponent's graveyard through milling. But you'll see that we didn't even end up needing it through a pretty big mistake on our opponent's part. They exile their graveyard. But they don't know that we have foil in our hand, so they think that they kind of punted, and they did, but not as much as they might think. So here I just play my Moment's Peace and pass. I've got 4 mana up. I just keep drawing foils now. But I have to, this turn again, this time I have to go shields down with foil, because I need my 5th land to be able to search for Moment's Peace, which kind of makes me feel bad about having to, that I discarded this forest. But in any case, our opponent just plays out whatever they have, and I get to keep milling them. And now we're in a really good spot. And our opponent's already down to 17, 16 cards in hand, partly due to their own cantripping, but mostly due to our double Jace draw in the early game. And here we get to draw some more, bring it down to 14. We get a Moment's Peace off the top, which means I didn't need to dig too hard for it. And we get to mill them some more. So we're looking, yeah, really, really strong here. And I get to draw. We get more Fogs. Opponent's down to 4 cards. I could have tried to kill them with Think Twice, but I decided to play it a little safer. Didn't always work out for me in the past, but in this case it did. Our opponent looks like they only had maybe 1 Flaring Pain in their whole deck, and we were going to kill them on our turn, so they conceded on their end step. So that's just about how I expect this matchup to go. Obviously, if they have more than 1 Flaring Pain, it gets kind of dicey, because especially if they draw it naturally. But in this case, it was quite far down their deck. Most people don't really play more than 1 Flaring Pain, which is good for us. But yeah, like I said, I like this match, and I like to show this match because it really kind of showed the power of foil. Like, ideally, here we would have one less island and one less foil in our hand, and that would have accounted for our countering of Flaring Pain, and then this forest would have been in play instead because I wouldn't have discarded it. I probably would have discarded another foil instead or something. Yeah, giving us the 5 mana we would have needed for Muddle the Mixture. So, yeah, really, really interesting game. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time.